In the heart of the bustling slums, where dreams often seemed as distant as the stars, lived a determined girl named Tracy. She shared a small, cramped home with her younger brother and sister. Their mother worked tirelessly, often leaving Tracy to juggle school and the responsibility of caring for her siblings. Tracy attended a government school where resources were scarce and the environment was tough. Despite the challenges, she harbored a dream that seemed impossible to many around her. She wanted to go to Harvard University. Her relatives often mocked her aspirations. "Why do you want to go to university?" her cousin would sneer. "Nobody goes to university in our family. You just want to move to those posh areas and start speaking like your neighbors and forget about us, your family." Her classmates, meanwhile, were more interested in parties and getting drunk, with some even falling pregnant. But Tracy remained focused on her studies, determined to break free from the cycle of poverty mindset that surrounded her. One day, a letter arrived that would change her life forever. She had been accepted to Harvard. For the first time, she saw resistance in her mother's eyes. Tracy's heart sank as she listened to her mother's words. Instead of the support she desperately needed, she was met with doubt and negativity. Her mother, overwhelmed by the harsh realities of their life, couldn't see beyond the immediate struggles. "Why do you want to go to Harvard when there are other universities nearby?" her mother asked, her voice filled with concern. "Who will look after your siblings? I can't afford it. This life is not for us. It's for people who can afford it." Tracy stood her ground, her voice steady and resolute. "I am going, Mom, no matter what you say. As for my siblings, it's your job to take care of them. You are their mother, and I am your daughter." Hearing these words from her mother, the person she looked up to the most, was like a dagger to Tracy's heart. She had hoped for at least a glimmer of pride or encouragement, but instead, she felt dismissed and misunderstood. Her mother's lack of support made her feel isolated, as if her dreams were foolish and unattainable. Tracy's mother, Thandi, had a life filled with challenges. She was a single mother of three, working tirelessly to provide for her children. Thandi worked at a hospital, mostly during the night shifts, which left her exhausted and with little time to spend with her family. Her husband had left years ago, and since then, she had been the sole provider, juggling multiple responsibilities to keep her family afloat. Despite the hardships, Thandi was proud of her children, especially Tracy, her firstborn. She saw the spark of ambition in Tracy's eyes and secretly hoped that her daughter could achieve what she never had the chance to. However, the weight of their daily struggles often clouded her ability to fully support Tracy's dreams. When Tracy shared her ambition to attend Harvard with her relatives, the response was harsh and dismissive. They mocked her, questioning why she was wasting her time with such lofty dreams. "No one in this family has ever been to university," they scoffed. "Why do you think you can be any different?" Thandi felt torn hearing her relatives saying that. On one hand, she was proud that Tracy wanted to go to university, setting an example for her younger siblings. On the other hand, she was overwhelmed by the practicalities and the fear of losing her daughter's help at home. She voiced her concerns not out of malice, but out of worry and love. Tracy felt a deep sense of disappointment hearing her mother's words. She had hoped for support and encouragement, but instead, she felt misunderstood and alone. The negativity from her family only made her more determined to prove them wrong. She knew that her success could pave the way for her siblings and break the cycle of poverty that had gripped their family for generations. The ridicule and lack of belief from her family stung deeply. Tracy felt a mix of anger, sadness, and determination. The negativity could have easily crushed her spirit, but instead, it fueled a fire within her. She realized that she had to be her own biggest supporter, even if no one else believed in her. Tracy's school principal believed in her, always pushing her not to give up in her dreams whenever she felt like giving up. Tracy would tell her principal she is saving for university just in case she cannot find a scholarship. Despite the lack of support, Tracy worked harder than ever. She poured her frustration and determination into her studies, knowing that her dreams were worth fighting for. She sought out scholarships, financial aid, and any opportunity that could help her achieve her goal and even saved money. She knew that proving her family wrong was not just about personal pride, it was about breaking the cycle of poverty and stagnation that had held them back for generations. She wanted to show them that it was possible to dream big and achieve those dreams, no matter where you came from. Every time she felt discouraged, she reminded herself of her goal. She visualized herself walking through the gates of Harvard, Not any other university, but Harvard, not just for herself, but for every person who had ever been told their dreams were too big. Tracy's resolve became unshakable. She was determined to succeed, not just to prove her family wrong, but to pave the way for others like her. Tracy's dreams and hopes were her guiding light, even in the darkest times. She had worked tirelessly, saving every penny she could for her university education. Her acceptance to Harvard was a beacon of hope, a testament to her hard work and determination. One sunny afternoon, Tracy and her mother, Thandi, were returning from the shops. They had spent the day running errands, chatting about their plans and dreams. Tracy felt a rare sense of contentment, enjoying the simple pleasure of spending time with her mother. As they approached their small apartment, Tracy noticed the door slightly ajar. A sense of unease crept over her. She exchanged a worried glance with her mother, Thandi, who immediately quickened her pace. They rushed inside only to find their worst fears confirmed. Their home was in disarray. Drawers were pulled out, their contents strewn across the floor. The few valuables they owned were missing. Tracy's heart pounded in her chest as she ran to the small box where she kept her savings. Her hands trembled as she opened it, only to find it empty. The money she had painstakingly set aside over the years, her hope for a better future, was gone. The thieves had taken everything. Tracy's heart sank. She felt a wave of despair wash over her, as if the ground had been pulled out from under her. All her hard work, the sacrifices she had made, seemed to vanish in an instant. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she fought to hold them back, not wanting to break down in front of her mother. Thandi, seeing the devastation on Tracy's face, felt her own heart shatter. She pulled Tracy into a tight embrace, trying to offer comfort even as her own world crumbled. "We'll get through this," she whispered, though her voice wavered with uncertainty. "We'll find a way." Tracy felt a mix of anger, sadness, and helplessness. The loss was devastating. Tracy felt as if the ground had been pulled out from under her. The dreams she had nurtured seemed to slip through her fingers like sand. The weight of despair threatened to crush her spirit. The loss of her savings was more than just a financial blow. It was a blow to her dreams and aspirations. She had worked so hard, and now it felt like everything was slipping away. But deep down, Tracy knew she couldn't give up. She had to find the strength to keep going for herself and for her mother. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her emotions. "We'll get through this," she echoed, her voice stronger this time. "I won't let this stop me." The road ahead would be tough, but Tracy was determined to rebuild. She knew that her dreams were worth fighting for, no matter how many obstacles stood in her way. With her mother's support and her own unwavering resolve, she vowed to overcome this setback and continue striving for a better future. Tracy knew her mother was right, but the pain was still raw. She had to dig deep within herself to find the strength to keep going. She couldn't let this setback define her future. She reached out to her teachers and community for support, explaining her situation and asking for guidance. To her surprise, the community rallied around her. Her teachers helped her apply for scholarships and financial aid. Neighbors contributed what little they could. Slowly but surely, Tracy began to rebuild her savings. Another challenge came crashing into Tracy's life when she was attacked by bullies from her school. These bullies, who resented her ambition and determination, decided to make her life even more difficult. They cornered her one day after school, taunting her and mocking her dreams. In a cruel act of sabotage, they snatched her school notes, knowing it would severely impact her performance in the upcoming exams. Tracy tried to defend herself, but the bullies were relentless. They pushed her around, leaving her bruised and shaken. When she finally managed to escape and make her way home, she felt a mix of pain and fear. Her body ached from the physical assault, but the emotional wounds cut even deeper. When Tracy walked through the door, Thandi immediately noticed her daughter's disheveled appearance and the bruises on her arms. "What happened, Tracy?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. Tracy hesitated, knowing that if she told the truth, the bullies would only make her life more difficult. She didn't want to bring more trouble upon herself or her family. So she lied. "I fell, Mom. It's nothing serious." Thandi wasn't convinced. She decided to report the incident to the school principal, hoping to get to the bottom of what had happened. However, when they met with the principal, Tracy stuck to her story. "I wasn't bullied," she insisted. "I just had an accident." The principal, seeing no evidence to the contrary, accepted Tracy's explanation and closed the matter. But inside, Tracy felt a deep sense of frustration and helplessness. She knew that by staying silent, she was allowing the bullies to win, but she also feared the repercussions of speaking out. As Tracy prepared for her exams, she faced numerous challenges. Despite the setback from the bullies, her resolve only grew stronger. She borrowed notes from friends and stayed up late to catch up on her studies. The bruises on her body healed, but the experience left a lasting mark on her spirit. She was determined not to let anything derail her dreams. However, not everyone was pleased with Tracy's determination and the support she received from others. One of her aunts, Auntie Miriam, harbored resentment. She wished her own daughter, who was now pregnant with her second child, could have shown the same drive and ambition as Tracy. This jealousy festered, leading Auntie Miriam to take drastic measures. Desperate to see Tracy fail, Auntie Miriam visited a witch doctor. She hoped to obtain a potion that would make Tracy useless and stagnant, preventing her from achieving her dreams. The conversation between Auntie Miriam and the witch doctor was filled with malice and desperation. "I need something to stop a girl from succeeding," Auntie Miriam said, her voice trembling with anger. "She thinks she's better than everyone else, and I can't stand it." The witch doctor, an old woman with piercing eyes, listened intently. "Why do you want to harm this girl?" she asked, her voice calm but probing. "She's making my daughter look bad," Auntie Miriam replied. "Everyone praises her, but my daughter is struggling. I want her to fail, to be just like the rest of us." The witch doctor nodded slowly. "I can give you a potion," she said. "But remember, such actions come with consequences. Make sure you sprinkle this liquid in her bedroom, but make sure she is the first person to enter the room and no one should see you doing that. Are you sure this is what you want?" Auntie Miriam hesitated for a moment, but her jealousy overpowered her better judgment. "Yes, I'm sure," she said firmly. The witch doctor handed her a small vial filled with a dark liquid. "Use this wisely," she warned. "It will cloud her mind and make her lose focus." Her mind set on seeing Tracy fail. She left the dark, musty room and headed straight to her sister Thandy's house, her heart pounding with a mix of guilt and determination. She knew what she was about to do was wrong, but her jealousy and resentment had clouded her judgment. When she arrived at Thandy's house, she found it empty. Thandy was likely at work, and Tracy was probably at school. This was her chance. She quickly made her way inside, her hands trembling as she uncorked the vial. The dark liquid inside seemed to shimmer ominously. Miriam moved through the small apartment, sprinkling the potion in places where Tracy would spend most of her time: her study area, her bed, and even her school bag. She hoped the potion would work quickly, making Tracy lose focus and drive. Even though she felt a pang of regret, she pushed it aside, convincing herself that this was for the best. Tracy's cousin Lindy had a party to attend that night. With her clothes getting tight due to her pregnancy, she asked Tracy if she could borrow one of her dresses. Tracy, always willing to help, agreed, knowing that one of her dresses would fit Lindy perfectly and conceal her pregnancy. Lindy went to Tracy's house to pick up the dress. As she walked towards Tracy's room, she was stunned to see her mother, Auntie Miriam, sprinkling some substance around the room while mumbling words she couldn't understand. "Mom, what are you doing?" Lindy exclaimed, her voice filled with shock and confusion. Auntie Miriam, caught off guard, dropped the bottle and ran out of the house in a panic. Lindy stood there, bewildered, before quickly running after her mother. As they both ran, Auntie Miriam, in her haste, crossed the road without looking and was hit by a car. The scene was chaotic. Auntie Miriam was rushed to the hospital where the doctors informed the family that she wouldn't be able to walk again due to the severity of her injuries. The family was devastated, and the truth about Auntie Miriam's actions slowly came to light. In her moments of clarity, Auntie Miriam confessed to her family about the potion and her intentions to sabotage Tracy out of jealousy. The revelation shocked everyone, especially Tracy, who couldn't believe how far her aunt had gone just because of envy. Auntie Miriam ended up in a wheelchair, her actions serving as a painful reminder of the consequences of jealousy and malice. Learning the truth about her aunt was a heavy emotional blow for Tracy. She felt a whirlwind of emotions: shock, betrayal, sadness, and even anger. The realization that someone so close to her, someone she considered family, had tried to sabotage her dreams out of jealousy was almost too much to bear. Initially, Tracy felt overwhelmed. She couldn't understand why her aunt would go to such lengths to see her fail. The betrayal cut deep, and she found it hard to trust others. She spent many sleepless nights replaying the events in her mind and grappling with the pain of the situation. However, Tracy knew she couldn't let this incident define her. She sought solace in her mother, Thendi, who provided a shoulder to cry on and words of encouragement. Thandi reminded her that despite the actions of Auntie Miriam, there were still many people who believed in her and supported her dreams. Tracy also found strength in her friends and teachers who rallied around her during this difficult time. They helped her stay focused on her studies and reminded her of her potential. Their unwavering support was a beacon of hope, helping her navigate through the emotional turmoil. Over time, Tracy began to heal. She realized that her aunt's actions were a reflection of her own insecurities, and not a measure of Tracy's worth or potential. This understanding allowed her to forgive Auntie Miriam, not for her aunt's sake, but for her own peace of mind. Tracy's resilience grew stronger with each passing day. She channeled her emotions into her studies, determined to prove that no obstacle could stand in her way. With renewed determination, Tracy pushed through the final weeks of her exams. She studied harder than ever, knowing that her dreams were worth every struggle. In the end, she passed her exams with flying colors, proving that no obstacle could stand in the way of her determination and resilience. Thendi, seeing Tracy's unwavering determination, began to understand the depth of her daughter's dreams. She realized that Tracy's success could indeed change their family's future. With her mother's reluctant blessing, Tracy set off on her journey to Harvard, carrying with her the hopes and dreams of her family. She knew the road ahead would be tough, but she was ready to face any challenge that came her way. Tracy's story became an inspiration to many, proving that with determination and courage, even the most impossible dreams could come true. Tracy's journey was a testament to the power of perseverance and the importance of believing in oneself, even when faced with the most daunting challenges. The experience, though painful, taught her valuable lessons about perseverance, forgiveness, and the importance of surrounding herself with positive influences. Her story inspired others in her community, showing that with courage and hard work, anything is possible. Tracy became the first graduate in her family, and the spirit of stagnation was broken. Thank you for watching Granny G Stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories.